What if I told you some of the mods riders brag about online are basically setting fire to cash? Sounds harsh, but think about it. You've seen that guy at bike night. He rolls in with neon underglow glowing like a UFO, an $800 exhaust that rattles windows, and a pile of bolt-on upgrades. Yet his bike rides the exact same as it did stock. No safer, no faster, just louder and shinier. Here's the truth. After logging thousands of miles, talking with riders who've learned the hard way, and digging through forums where people admit their biggest regrets, you start to see a pattern. Some mods look good on Instagram, but in the real world, they wreck your wallet, kill resale value, or even make your ride worse. And that's exactly what we're covering today. I'm breaking down 8 so-called secret motorcycle mods that sound impressive in theory, but end up as expensive mistakes. And wait till you see number 8. It's hands down the most common regret I hear from new riders. So let's get into it, starting with the one mod everyone thinks screams custom, but actually screams bad investment. Number 1. Custom paint jobs. Because nothing says performance like flames on your tank, right? Let's be real. Custom paint jobs might make your bike stand out at the gas station, but they don't add a single ounce of horsepower or safety. Riders drop thousands on flashy graphics, candy colors, or ghost flames, thinking it makes their machine legendary. In reality, it just makes it harder to sell later. Here's the insider truth. Buyers don't see your $3,000 paint job as art. They see it as a red flag. To them, it looks like you covered up a crash or messed with factory parts. That hurts your resale value instantly. Even worse, custom paint is fragile. One scratch, one tip over, and suddenly that masterpiece costs more to repair than it's worth. At the end of the day, it's all show, no go. It drains your wallet and gives you nothing back on the road. If paint jobs waste money, wait until you hear about this next noisy upgrade. Number 2. Loud aftermarket exhausts. Ever heard the guy who thinks volume equals horsepower? You know the type. He fires up his bike, rattles car alarms, and swears it pulls harder now that he dropped $1,000 on pipes. Here's the truth. Most aftermarket slip-ons and even full exhaust systems deliver little more than sound, unless you pair them with proper ECU tuning. And that tuning? That's another chunk of money. Without it, you might actually lose performance, worse throttle response, poor fuel economy, even engine wear over time. On top of that, the legal headaches are real. Many regions crack down on noise, and cops don't hesitate to hand out fines. Add in the angry neighbors, and you're paying socially and financially for something that doesn't really help you ride better. Sure, a loud pipe might turn heads at bike night, but once the novelty wears off, you're left with less money, more hassle, and zero real gains. And speaking of sound, some riders think glowing lights add presence. Number 3. LED Underglow Kits. Cool at a car meet, illegal on the street. That's the reality with LED Underglow Kits. Riders throw these glowing strips under their frames, thinking it makes their bike look futuristic, like something out of a video game. And yeah, it gets attention, but usually from the people you don't want attention from. Here's the insider angle. In many regions, underglow is straight up illegal. The colors can be mistaken for emergency vehicles, and even when it's technically legal, cops see it as a reason to pull you over. Beyond the legal side, the lights drain your battery, they're prone to water damage, and most of the time, they look cheap and tacky once the novelty wears off. What do you actually gain? Nothing. No safety, no performance, just a lighter wallet and maybe a ticket in your glove box. It's the kind of mod that turns your bike into a toy, not a machine. But it's not just lights. Sometimes it's safety mods that secretly fail you. Number 4. Cheap crash bars and frame sliders. Not all protection actually protects. That's the trap riders fall into when they grab bargain crash bars or frame sliders off the internet. On paper, they sound smart. Bolt-on guards that save your plastics and tank in a fall. But the problem is, those cheap versions aren't engineered for real impact. Here's the insider truth. Instead of absorbing the hit, bargain bars often bend like pretzels and transfer all that force straight into the bike's frame. I've seen low-speed parking lot drops where the protectors actually caused more damage than if the bike had gone down bare. And once your frame is tweaked, repairs skyrocket. Sometimes the bike isn't even worth fixing. The worst part? Riders feel a false sense of security. They think they're safe because they bolted on a $60 part, when in reality, they're gambling with much bigger repair bills. And just like crash bars, this next mod seems practical, but is usually pointless. Number 5. Oversized windscreens and bubble screens. Ever try riding behind a cheap bubble screen? Feels like turbulence on an airplane. Riders pick up oversized windscreens thinking they'll get luxury touring comfort. But at street speeds, those big shields barely do anything useful. Instead of cutting the wind, they often just redirect it straight into your helmet, making the ride noisier and more fatiguing. Here's the insider truth. Most of these aftermarket bubble screens aren't designed with proper aerodynamics. They distort your vision, create buffeting around your head and shoulders, and in some cases, make handling feel sketchy. And let's be honest, most of them don't exactly improve your bike's looks either. That sleek sport bike suddenly looks like it's wearing a fishbowl. So what's the impact? Riders end up wasting money, hating the ride more, and ripping the thing off after a few weeks. It's the classic case of paying for comfort, but getting the exact opposite. And if you thought windshields were questionable, wait until you hear about riders stretching their swing arms. Number 6. Stretched swing arms. Here's a mod that literally ruins your bike's soul. Stretched swing arms might look wild and aggressive, and yes, in the drag racing world they serve a purpose, keeping the bike planted during straight-line runs. But on the street, they turn a perfectly good motorcycle into a clumsy, sluggish mess. Here's the insider truth. When you extend that swing arm, you destroy the very thing that makes motorcycles fun: cornering. Suddenly, your bike feels like it's steering through molasses. Quick lane changes? Forget it. Tight curves? Dangerous. Even your suspension geometry gets thrown off, which means less stability when you actually need it. The impact is brutal. You've taken a nimble machine designed for balance and turned it into something unsafe anywhere outside a drag strip. And for daily riders, all you're left with is worse handling, higher insurance scrutiny, and a big red "Why did I do this?" stamped on your wallet. But sometimes it's not even radical mods. It's the small, cheap upgrades that cost more than they save. Number 7. Bar end mirrors and cheap accessories. Because who needs to see behind them anyway, right? That's the mindset when riders swap out their stock mirrors for those tiny bar end ones they found online for $20. They look clean. They make your handlebars look minimalist. But the moment you ride with them, the problems show up fast. Here's the insider truth. Those little mirrors vibrate like crazy. At idle, the view is a blur. At speed, you're constantly tilting your head, adjusting angles and trying to figure out if that's a cop behind you or just a truck. Safety takes a back seat to style, and eventually, frustration sets in. And it's not just mirrors. Cheap levers, knockoff grips, and bargain accessories all follow the same pattern. They wear out, they break, And 9 times out of 10, riders end up spending more money going back to OEM or quality aftermarket parts. And now, the #1 regret mod riders confess online. Number 8. High-end custom seats and luxury comfort add-ons. Spending $600 on a seat before spending $60 on actual riding gear. That's the kind of upside-down priority a lot of riders fall into. The pitch sounds great. Long ride comfort, no more sore back, hours of smooth cruising. So riders fork over big cash for plush saddles, gel inserts, or heated luxury seats. But here's the kicker. Most of that comfort doesn't come from the seat at all. Here's the insider truth. Back pain and fatigue usually come from poor suspension setup, bad posture, or not taking enough breaks. A $600 cushion won't fix geometry that's off, or muscles that need a stretch. And when it comes time to sell the bike, buyers don't care about your luxury seat. They're not paying extra for it. It's just another sunk cost. The result is simple: a thinner wallet, the same aches, and disappointment that you didn't invest in what actually matters: gear, training, or proper bike setup. So now you know the 8 secrets. That leaves one final truth. So there it is. Custom paint, loud exhausts, neon lights, bargain crash bars, oversized windscreens, stretched swing arms, bar-end mirrors, and those overpriced luxury seats. 8 so-called upgrades that drain your wallet and give you nothing meaningful back. Here's the hard truth. These aren't upgrades, they're distractions. They trick you into thinking you've improved your bike, when all you've really done is throw money at vanity. Real riders know the real investments aren't flashy. They're in good gear that saves your skin, in skills that keep you upright, and in smart maintenance that keeps your machine running strong. And here's the flip side. Skip the hype mods and you'll save thousands while your bike stays reliable, legal, and respected. Instead of chasing Instagram likes, you're stacking miles, building experience, and riding with confidence. That's what separates a rider from a poser. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these mods shocked you the most? Drop it in the comments. Hit like if you've ever regretted wasting money on your bike. And subscribe, because next time, we're exposing the mods that actually make your bike better. Ride smart, ride free, and don't let Instagram trends empty your wallet.